Peace, family. It's your brother Marc Lamont Hill, and I am joined by
Mumia Abu Jamal.
And you are listening to the Classroom and the Cell podcast. We're so excited to be here with you, Mumia. The last time we talked, we were talking about religion. I definitely want to pick up on that point.
Okay.
But you said something before we started rolling that blew my mind. You said, after all that talking about sports, you actually told me that you watched the NCAA women's final.
I think I didn't, listen. I felt so much energy and curiosity, right? And I watched it, and it blew my mind because these girls were playing at such a level and so smartly and literally as a team. And most of them were freshmen.
Yeah.
Just amazing how they played. The best team, in the world, and one of the best players in the country. And they played her with real smartness, sassiness, and will and commitment. And
it was amazing.
The littlest one on the team, Raven Johnson, she had more hair than she got legs. But guess what? When she stole,
she picked Caitlin Clark's pocket. Yeah.
Went around and dropped it in like a half second. It changed the game, and it never went back. I said, look at this. And they held the lead, and even when they got close, they would drop, Tessa Johnson would drop a few threes to show that, sisters can throw threes too. And
right.
I think she's Brazilian sister.
The big girl, the center. Yeah.
Oh, man. It was like, defense, rebounds, and it was like, and could nobody move it, could nobody touch it. I don't think they wanted to touch it.
Right.
And she was an Amazon on the court, man. It was a fantastic and an exciting game.
This is a call from Pennsylvania State Correctional Institution, Mahanoy.
This call is subject to recording and monitoring. Who, is now among the greats, not just as a player, but as a coach. And I'm reminded of a story, if I may.
Please.
A brother who was on the road with me from North Philly, born and raised. And I mean, North Philly was his home, everything. Anyway, man, we were out, and they were playing ball, right? I told you, I ain't got no game. We ain't going to fake this thing. But this cat, he's a basketball animal, but he's like 4.5 feet. And I saw him jump, and his feet were at this brother's shoulder. And I'm like, how you do that, man? He's not just jumping, like it wasn't nothing. And we began talking about Dawn Staley. He said, oh, yeah, I knew her. I said, we played ball. I said, well, how'd you do, man? I said, man, she crushed. I said, what? You, the basketball animal? He said, man, listen, all she plays was dudes in the street, and she beat them like they stole something. I said, oh.
Yep.
And, that's where she, honed her game, and she's history now. I mean, just an indelible mark in women's history, in college history, and in sport.
So this is an interesting conversation. Actually, we should probably pick up here. We're going to cover religion the next episode, y'all. We're going to pick back up on part 2. I promise you. But there's a couple points here that I think is interesting. First of all,
Pennsylvania State Correctional Institution, Mahanoy.
This call is subject to recording and monitoring.
Rude. We even talk about women's basketball. She still ain't rocking with us, man. Interrupting the conversation, man. But it's interesting to think about a couple pieces. First of all, I just want to shout out Dawn Staley. North Philadelphia and 25th and Diamond Street.
Philly.
The heart of North Philly basketball legend. Like you said, I was one of those youngins that grew up hearing the legend. She's about 8 years older than me. So, I grew up hearing about the legend of Dawn Staley. And when she got to UVA and was playing in college, you watched her play her game, and she's so small, but she's so gifted. She won 3 Olympic gold medals. She took, her UVA, her college team far. Dawn Staley is just a winner. She was the college player of the year more than once. Again, she then went to the ABL and then the WNBA. When they came with the top 15 players ever, she was in the list. She's in the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame. She's in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. She's the most decorated basketball player we've probably ever seen. Again, she's 5'6". You know what I mean? It takes more than a notion to do what she's been able to do. 3 national championships as a coach, 6 Final Fours. I mean, she's done all the things. But what was interesting to me is as she's winning, she could be the story, right? It would make sense for her to be the story. When UConn won, their coach Gene, Auriemma was the story. But the story was Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now let me be very clear. I am a Caitlin Clark fan. I was watching the game, rooting for Caitlin and rooting for Dawn at the same time. I know them two things don't match up, but Caitlin Clark is the most phenomenal women's basketball player I've ever seen, and one of the most phenomenal college basketball players, male or female, that I've ever seen. So
without question, and she's smart as a whip. I saw, the sister was like blocking her, Raven, from point A to point B, but she was blocking her. I mean, in her face, right? She took a step left and just banged it. I'm like,
yeah.
And it was a small step, but it was enough to give her like a clear vision, and that three went up and came down like it was meant to. And I said, wow. Yeah,
she shoots like she's standing 2 feet from the basket.
Yeah.
She's special.
But it tells you how bad South Carolina was, too. I mean, they played the best.
You're talking about the best. You're talking about a team that lost 5 starters last year, and not just 5 stars. I mean, it's one thing to lose 5. Like, a lot of teams lose starters, right? And they lose seniors because that's what college is.
But these were stars,
Stars. These are all players that went to the WNBA. So they lost 5 pros and managed to come back the next year and go further. I mean, you can't underestimate and go undefeated. You can't underestimate that. But there's a way that CNN wrote a headline today that said, it didn't say USC and Dawn Staley win national championship. It said, I think it said USC defeat enemy or nemesis Caitlin Clark. So they put Caitlin Clark in the headline, and then the picture didn't show the girls winning.
Right.
The headline showed Caitlin Clark sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
Right.
She's a superstar, and she deserves to be a superstar. But the point is, like you said, these were fresh. So think about, they came from high school teams, right? I suppose, and they knew the game, and so it wasn't like novel to them. But high school, college, and pros are 3 different fields.
Yeah.
And all the rules are different, generally. And, they're at different levels of intensity, and no one, I think, gave them the credit that they deserve. They, undefeated for the whole season. Nothing.
Undefeated.
They lost nothing. How many coaches can say that?
Right, almost none. And that's my thing. And so for me, I'm okay with Caitlin Clark getting all the attention. She's the phenom. But what I'm not okay with is how the black women athletes got talked about in that same.
Not demeaned.
Yeah. When Louisiana lost to them,
right?
And Angel Reese was in that press conference crying. You had grown men like Emmanuel Acho, who's a ESPN or I forget what network he's on. He's a sports commentator.
I saw that.
Yeah, and he's talking about she's a grown woman. She can't act tough and then cry. And it's like, no. This girl was upset because, first of all, she lost. Everybody cries in losses. I mean, I've seen him.
Because
Allen
they win so badly.
Yeah. But also, this girl has been lied on. Someone used artificial intelligence to make a sex video about her a couple weeks ago. She did death threats, and they frame her as a villain.
Man.
Right.
Death threats for like an 18, 19-year-old. Are you kidding me, man?
It's ridiculous. And so what these black women and girls have to go through, LSU ain't nothing but black. That's a Negro team, if I ever seen one. And they're gifted and they're talented. But there's a way that when there's a unique white athlete or a gifted white athlete.
I remember one was described as like ice cream and milk and cookies, and the other one described as dirty debutantes. I mean,
dirty debutante.
Are you kidding me, homie?
And I remember maybe 10, 12 years ago, the Knicks had a guy, Jeremy Lin, the Asian point guard, and they were so excited that this guy could play basketball, and Jeremy Lin could play. I was a Jeremy Lin fan, but they were so excited that they framed him so different than the black athletes. They would say Jeremy Lin is so a student of the game. He went to Harvard, so that helped. He's such a student of the game. At halftime, he goes in and watches the footage to analyze and respond to his game. I'm like, the whole damn team do that. You think he's the only one? Which is the rest of them shoot the dice? Right?
It's making another out of the other,
Right.
And America can only do that because, to quote Fanon, racism in a racist country is normal.
Right.
I mean, it's like it's the water that fish swim in, and they don't know they're wet.
Right. You're 1,000% right. And just for the listeners
instead of these sisters, go ahead, brother.
No, please, go ahead. Finish your thought.
No, instead of these sisters getting the applause and the praise that they deserve for their. Remember, I talked to you about spatial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that reading about Mike Jordan and Muhammad Ali. Right now, Michael Jordan was born to be Michael Jordan, but he trained at an obscene level to hone his skills. And Muhammad, the trick with him is no matter what a trainer told him, he did what he wanted to do because he always figured out how to win in ways that the trainer could not even perceive.
Right.
And, and that's his spatial intelligence. He would look at a cat and like analyze him, find his weakness, and jug him in there and throw him and do his thing. And
right.
and Jordan had he practiced like all day long, and when he got on the field, he was like not ready, but more than ready, if you understand. And so that's spatial intelligence in space, in time, moving with mastery. You dig?
Yeah.
And these sisters had spatial intelligence, speed, strength, guile.
You have
Raven
1 minute
had 4
left.
steals, didn't she?
Oh, yeah, man.
And those steals changed the game.
Changed the game. And so as we move forward, I want to see the Caitlin Clarks of the world celebrated for their talent.
Absolutely.
But I want to make sure that our sisters, these black women and girls, that they're all celebrated. And hopefully next year, with Caitlin Clark going on to the WNBA and Angel Reese going on to the WNBA, we'll continue to support women's sports, because what we learned this year is, a lot of us for the first time, is that women's college basketball is just as, and I would argue, more interesting than men's. And there's so much talent, so much competitiveness. It's not a second-class sport. We need to give it the respect it deserves.
That's right, and they need to be paid what they're worth, because they are superstars, bro. Come on now. You don't hear me, though.
You done spoke a word, my brother.
Huh?
You done spoke a
man,
word.
They had bigger audiences than the brothers.
Thank you for using Securus. Goodbye.
Love you too, man. On the move. Everybody, what a great conversation, man. Mumia blew my mind. He always surprises me, man. I was teasing him before about not ever watching sports, so he gonna go left when I thought he was going right. And tell me that he watched the whole NCAA women's final. So amazing. I'm so glad I got to talk to him about that. Make sure you check out everything on the channel. I'm sorry, my mind is still spinning from that. But Mia watched the whole basketball game. Anyway, y'all, watch the rest of our content on the channel, on the podcast. You can check it out on Marc Lamont Hill Official on YouTube. In other words, go to YouTube, type in my name, Marc Lamont Hill, and you'll find the Classroom and the Cell podcast. You can get all of our episodes. Get yourself up to date. A bunch of new episodes are coming out very, very soon. And you can also join the channel. You can subscribe to the channel. You can hit the like button and just let YouTube and the algorithms know that you rock with me and Mumia. Stay tuned for more. We'll be back very soon with another Classroom and the Cell. Peace.